Rudo was a slum dweller who often broke into the junkyards of rich people to steal usable things. However, when he gets framed for his foster father's murder and gets thrown into the pit where all the garbage of the world ends up, he is forced to fight gigantic monsters made of garbage to climb his way back up and get revenge. The world is divided into two parts. On one side, there is the pristine city with rich people living their best lives, and on the other side, there are the slums where people like him belong. The only constant is the pit, where all garbage ends up, including criminals. The rich people who live in the city casually throw away even slightly damaged items without hesitation. Like the woman who tells her daughter to throw away the puppy toy she just bought because it got damaged. She tells her that the toy will become ugly if they try to repair it, and they can just buy another one later. The girl has no problem with that, and her mother throws the puppy along with other garbage into the small garbage vent that leads it straight to a truck in an underground tunnel that leads to a giant trash collection site. However, the young Rudo is inside the trash collection site too, eyeing the stuff the trucks are carrying. He sneaks into the trash collection site and enters one of the rooms, but unfortunately, one guard hears some sound coming from the room, and he immediately checks inside to find someone rummaging through the garbage. The guard barges inside the room with his gun pointed at the trash thief Rudo, calling him a disgusting degenerate who is threatening the beauty of the city by hoarding trash. Rudo doesn't even respond to this because he hears those things every Tuesday. But then the guard sounds the alarm, calling for backup. Just as more guards arrive there, Rudo throws some garbage bags at them, and the clean freaks can't handle some raw eggs on their uniform, so they just watch him climb up the vent without doing anything. Rudo comes out of the vent near the exit, but the gate closes on his face, and just then, more guards come there.
Open fire! Stop here!
What a bunch of shitheads. Yeah, I'm the threat, assholes.
The next day, the news about the garbage raider spreads through the city, with the people blaming the slum dwellers for it. On the other side of the wall, the slum dwellers know exactly whom to blame because it is not the first time Rudo has entered the trash collection sites. They think that he will be caught one day, and most of them actually hope that he does. Rudo doesn't care about them as he sets his shop to sell the repaired goods he found. When his friend Chiwa arrives there to lash out at him, she asks him why the hell does he take such a big risk just to scavenge through the trash of the city people. And he replies that those rich bastards don't even care about throwing perfectly usable things. He feels sorry for the things they throw out, so he retrieves them. And since he can get some money by selling them, it is even better. Chiwa seems to understand him, but just then, 3 boys arrive there, clenching their noses as they say that someone reeks of garbage here. They tell Chiwa to stay away from Rudo, or she will smell like garbage too. They insult his thick black gloves that he has not washed since Obama was the president, and say that just one touch from them will give anyone rashes. One boy kicks the lantern Rudo just fixed, saying that no one will buy this garbage from him. He says that Rudo's hands are even creepier than the gloves, which is why he keeps them hidden. Rudo silently hears everything they say, but when one boy calls him the son of a murderer, he suddenly gets furious. The boys, however, don't stop, saying that the slum was made to imprison criminals and the people who live here now are their descendants. That is why they always try to keep their reputation clean, but Rudo's dad brought shame to them by becoming a murderer. Rudo can't tolerate the insults anymore, and he gives a death stare to the boys, who crap their pants and immediately run away, still cursing Rudo and saying that he will become a murderer like his dad one day. Rudo then quietly starts fixing the lantern again, and Chiwa tells him that she believes that he is a good person who will never turn out like his dad. He gets embarrassed on hearing that, but before he can thank her, Chiwa's attention goes to the puppy toy he got from the dump last night. Turns out, Rudo brought the puppy as a gift for her in the first place, but before he can give it to her and increase his risk score, Chiwa's mom comes there and takes her away. Rudo heads home after that, and finds his adoptive dad Recto waiting for him. Recto suddenly starts mimicking how nervous he was while trying to give the puppy to Chiwa, and Rudo turns red because he didn't spot him watching them. Recto tells him that they will talk about it later because first, they need to talk about Rudo's little trip to the junkyard. Recto tells him that he doesn't need to push himself so hard because they are not that broke. He thinks that Rudo feels a bit indebted to him because he adopted him after his biological dad was thrown into the pit for being a murderer. But Rudo says it is not like that. He tells Recto that he considers him family, and he is just trying to do his part. Recto simply tells him to be this honest with Chiwa too, and Rudo suddenly fumbles hard, injuring the gun wound from last night. Recto immediately starts giving him first aid and also changes the bandages around his hands while he is at it. As Rudo looks at his hands, he recalls how they have been injured for as long as he has known. People always judged him for that, and sometimes his wounds started hurting like hell out of nowhere. Then one day, Recto gave him the black gloves that magically suppressed the pain. After Recto is done tending to Rudo's wounds, he tells him to confess to Chiwa soon or someone else might swoop her away, and while the two of them are bantering about it, a creepy masked guy listens to everything from the streets. The next day, Rudo finally works up courage to tell his feelings to Chiwa, and heads towards her home with the puppy. But on the way, he comes across a scene that is not really rare in the slums. At the edge of the slums, there is the pit, where all garbage and serious criminals are thrown. Today, another criminal is being thrown into the pit and Rudo can only watch the execution, wondering what happens to the people inside the pit. Just then, Chiwa comes there, saying that it is quite a brutal sight, and Rudo panics because he was not ready to meet her yet. Chiwa suddenly starts talking about the executions and other stuff, and then she tells Rudo that she doesn't want him to get thrown into the pit. She says that there might be a lot of stuff that shouldn't be thrown out as garbage, but it is not a good enough reason to risk his life. Rudo replies that Recto said the same thing and Chiwa says that it is because Recto loves him too. Rudo takes a second to process that Chiwa said that Recto loves him too, and his brain with 2 MB RAM understands that Chiwa means that she loves him. She gets flustered on realizing that her words could be interpreted that way, but Rudo has already lost his mind. He falls on the ground, clutching his face, and then gives the puppy toy to Chiwa, saying that she might not want it because it came from the garbage, but he thought the puppy would be happier with her. To his utter delight, Chiwa accepts the toy, saying that she will cherish it, and Rudo is happier than he has ever been. He jumps and dances on his way back home, thinking that he needs to boast about it to Rudo immediately. On the way, he bumps into some guards who don't even bother with him, but he is curious about why they are in the slums. Anyway, Rudo reaches home and starts telling Rudo about what happened just as he opened the door. But he is left aghast when he sees Rudo on the ground with a creepy masked man on top of him. The masked man turns around to take one look at Rudo before plunging his knife deeper into Rudo's body. Rudo loses his cool on seeing this and charges at the masked man, but he gets hit so hard that he doesn't even realize when he got knocked out. By the time Rudo comes to his senses, the masked murderer has finished his job. He picks up a book from the floor and heads outside, briefly glancing at Rudo, who tries following him, but then he hears Rudo's voice. Rudo is still alive somehow, and with his dying breath, he tells Rudo to run away. Rudo immediately goes next to him, promising that he will get help, but Rudo just tells him to run away and change this shit heap of a world into something better. With that, Rudo's body falls limp and Rudo can't process what is happening. Just then, the soldiers arrive there and they zap Rudo, believing him to be the murderer. They pin him to the ground as they tell him that he is being arrested for murder, and Rudo tells them that it was not him. The guards tell him that nothing he says matters anymore because they caught him red-handed. He keeps trying to tell them that the real murderer has just left the house and they can still catch him, but the guards don't even want to listen to him, so they just knock him out using the traditional method of punching him in the head. Soon, Rudo is taken to the scaffold to be executed for his crimes. Everyone from the slums is present there to witness him being thrown into the pit, and even some high-profile people from the main city are there. The judge tells Rudo that murder is one of the greatest crimes one can commit, and even though he killed a mere slum dweller, the punishment will not be reduced. He declares Rudo to be killed by throwing him into the pit, and the people start cheering on hearing this. Rudo still can't believe this is happening to him, and he wishes for just one person to believe that he is not a murderer. His eyes scan through the crowd, and they stop at Chiwa. Rudo yells at her, saying that he did not kill Rudo. He asks her to find the culprit, but she just says that she trusted him, but he was not worthy of that. She says that he was a murderer's son in the end and drops the toy as she turns his back on him. Her betrayal hurts Rudo more than anything else, and he snaps at the people calling him human filth who deserves to be thrown into the pit. He says that they are the real filth here because they are just blobs of meat without a brain or a will. He swears that he will send them all to hell, when suddenly he notices that the murderer is among the crowd as well. However, he gets no chance to tell anyone about it as he is thrown off the edge. Rudo feels like he has been falling forever, and at one point, he loses consciousness. Luckily, all the garbage at the bottom of the pit breaks his landing,